Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the downtown Baton Rouge studio on this Wednesday, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Got Jacob Beck, Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. That half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us on 104.5 ESPN. Lots to do on this Wednesday, as is tradition. We'll get to What If Wednesday here in about 30 minutes. LSU's baseball schedule has been released. We'll talk a little bit about that. Graham Holt from Swamp 24/7 here, talk about the Florida Gators, specifically a couple of injuries that I want to get his thoughts on. For sure, we have to get an update on probably the biggest injury of the week on both sides. That's Caleb Banks. Defensive lineman for Florida. I want to get thoughts on that. And then I'm not 100% sure TJ Lagway is healthy either. So we'll talk to Graham Hall about that at the top of hour number 2. JD Pickell with us in hour number 2 as well. He'll be here at 2:15. Our SEC football power rankings coming up at 2:30. So we got a lot to get into over the course of the next 2 hours. Let's get it cranked up the way we do every single day. That's with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
So the news of the last 24 hours, which is a little bit dated from that time perspective because it was about 22 hours ago when it happened, is Sydir Mitchell has been separated from the LSU football program, dismissed, walked away, kicked off the team. However you want to phrase it, Brian Kelly today confirmed on the SC teleconference that he is no longer with the football program. So the terminology moving forward doesn't really matter. It's just that he's not part of the football program. And this was not stunning news based on what we've seen spring, summer, fall games. Okay? Mitchell came in the spring to play for Bo Davis, who recruited him to Texas. Then Bo Davis left, and Mitchell worked out in the spring. And then they brought in Bernard Gooden and Kyle Williams. And then we went out there to camp, and Sydir Mitchell was working with the 2s and 3s. And he didn't play in the first game. He didn't play in the second game. So that sequence of events comes into play for one coach. That coach leaves. New coach comes in. They go into the portal to get another defensive tackle. You go out to fall camp, and he's working with 2s and 3s. He doesn't play in the first 2 games. It's not a promising track for Sydir Mitchell to impact this LSU football team. You couple that with the fact that at Texas, as a true freshman, he played in 4 games and made 3 tackles. And then last year as a redshirt freshman, he only played in 5 games and made 4 tackles. He made a tackle against Texas San Antonio, made a couple against Florida, 1 against Kentucky, and that was all he did in 2 years at Texas. Now, he was playing for loaded defensive lines at Texas. That group that Bo Davis had put together, cultivated, and developed was really, really good, but he didn't have a huge impact at Texas. He was not coming in with the credentials of some of the other transfers that LSU had. And I think that's really the biggest story here, because I think how LSU moves forward without Sydir Mitchell. They've done it for 2 games. They've done it without Sydir Mitchell. He was not someone we counted on to be a big impact here. But he's a miss in this transfer portal class. There aren't a lot of them. Look at the defense. Bernard Gooden, he plays. He's an impact guy. On the edge, Patrick Payton, impact guy. Helped force a turnover in the game at Clemson. On the field against Tech, Jack Pyburn, impact guy. Jamari Butler, I know he got hurt on Saturday, but he's a guy that's going to play a lot. You look at the corners. Mansour Delane's your best corner. Jakeem Jackson hasn't gotten to the field, but Delane's been your best guy. And then you look at the secondary. Beyond them, TaMarcus Cooley plays, starts. A.J. Halsey plays, starts. On offense, Braylon Moore, starting center. Josh Thompson, starting right guard. You look out wide. Barryon Brown, pretty big piece to what they're doing on the outside. Nick Anderson caught a touchdown last week. I wouldn't suggest he's been a guy that we've seen a ton of in fall, but game 2, he scores a touchdown. So the hit rate in this portal class is extremely high. And this is just one of those that's a miss. And we've talked about the fact that we believe that Bo Davis wanted to bring in more size on the defensive interior. That's generally been his MO. When he was at Alabama, they had huge guys on the interior. When he was at Texas, they've had huge guys on the interior, and he was starting that process at LSU. And Kyle Williams is not built like that. Kyle Williams has talked about what he wants to see from his defensive linemen. And Blake Baker came on these airwaves on the morning show with Jake and Matt and talked about what he wants out of his defensive linemen. And they want guys that get up the field. They want guys that are disruptive. They want havoc. They want tackles for loss. They want sacks. They want pass rush. They want hurries. And 360-pound defensive tackles don't give you a lot of that. That is not to suggest that 360-pound defensive tackles are worthless. There are plenty of defenses that use those to their advantage. There aren't a lot of those guys walking the planet that can do it. But if you get a really good one, absolutely, there's a spot for him. But Kyle Williams wants guys that look like Ahmad Bro. He wants guys that look like Bernard Gooden. There aren't a lot of guys that look like Dominic McKinley, but he'll take those guys as well. He wants active, quick, violent in the backfield. And that just doesn't really fit what Sydir Mitchell is. Now, I'm not here to tell you that Sydir Mitchell is no longer with the team because he didn't fit Kyle Williams' plan. Brian Kelly addressed it today on teleconference and said there are standards that have to be met in any business, in any industry, and if they're not met, then there'll be consequences, and the standards were not met. What that is, I don't know. It's early in the school year. It feels like that is unlikely, but I'm not going to speculate on it. But the standards weren't met, so they're going to move on. But where that position over the last 3 years could not sustain any attrition, you've got depth now. Like when you lost Tank Guillory last year in week 2, it was a nightmare. You had to then take Gio Paez from the edge and put him down inside and keep him there. He was going to be versatile for you. You had to take Paris Shand, who was severely undersized, bring him inside to play. And those guys are great teammates and great Tigers and unselfish players. And they went down there and they handled their business. They weren't All-Americans. They weren't all-conference players. LSU wasn't a great defense last year. But they did what they were asked to do. But there's a difference between having undrafted players play out of position and quote-unquote do what they have to do and playing championship football. And championship football is not finding undrafted players to go plug a gap because that's what you got. Championship football is cultivating talent, developing it, building depth behind it, and dominating. And that's what LSU needs to strive for, and that's what they're far closer to today, even without Sydir Mitchell, than they were 2 years ago, than they were 3 years ago. They just fell apart on the defensive line in terms of recruiting, retention, development, and churning guys out. Like, yeah, you had two guys make the NFL. Mekhi Wingo made the NFL and made a roster. And Mason Smith made the NFL and made a roster. But when those guys were asked to play, you didn't have anything behind them. It was 2 years ago. They were it. That's not a way to play championship football either. Now, you've got Bernard Gooden. You've got Dom McKinley. You've got Ahmad Bro. You've got Tank Guillory. You're getting snaps from a true freshman on this team at defensive tackle. I would suggest most LSU fans are not even aware at this point. It's only been 2 games, but are probably not even aware at this point that Walter Mathis, the freshman from Georgia, has played in both games. He played against Clemson and he played against Tech. He's 6'2", 285 pounds, and he's in a great position because I just mentioned 4 upperclassmen who are productive players who are ahead of him, and he just comes in and gives you 8-9 snaps a game. That is a perfect spot for a freshman defensive tackle to be in. Not, hey, need you to come play now. Not, hey, defensive end, I need you to come now play inside because we had an injury. LSU is in a very, very healthy spot for this season with their defensive tackle group. Now, you're going to lose Jacoby and Guillory after his 6th year, and you're going to lose Bernard Gooden. But you got Bro and McKinley, who were second-year players, and then you've brought in a crop of defensive tackles behind them, and Walter Mathis and Brandon Brown and Zion Williams. And you hope that those guys become the next, group of really good players. But that's a healthy way to put this thing together. So, yeah, it's disappointing anytime a player leaves the team, gets dismissed from the team, however you want to phrase this. And Sadir Mitchell is a big, big, big dude who was a 4-star recruit, who was brought on to help the University of Texas and LSU. Those are two big boy programs. But you've now created an infrastructure that can allow that to happen because you've brought in talent, retained a lot of talent, and developed it. So now you've got depth. So this is, to me, not an impactful thing at all for the 2025 LSU football season. There would have to be multiple more injuries or defections for this to be significant for this team. And that's a credit to what Bo Davis started, what Kyle Williams has done, and what the players that are still on the team have put into the bucket to this point. So, always disappointing when a college student, loses that kind of opportunity. We'll see what happens for Sadir Mitchell in the future. But for LSU, getting ready for Florida, getting ready for Ole Miss, getting ready for South Carolina, Alabama, Oklahoma, not really a story for this team because of the situation that position group is in right now. That's our Genesis opening drive here on this Wednesday. Our show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to get into the pool of your dreams? Joey Blanchard and Renaissance Homes and Pools can help you out. Check out the website, builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. Let's take a time out. When we come back, Saints have had a season-ending injury. I think you can find a positive in it if you look hard enough. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools brings you our Wednesday shows, but I'm here to tell you about Genesis of Baton Rouge at this point. Got to read the old live sheet correctly. Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find the inventory at genesisofbatonrouge.com. Every car that is on the lot is online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. And I think that's important. In the society that we live in right now, everything is online delivery based. Like you get your toilet paper, toothpaste, clothes, everything just gets sent to your front door. Well, you can shop for cars like that. I don't know if it's the way I would do it, but everybody's different. You want to shop online, you want to look at vehicles, and you say, well, I got to test drive it too, but I don't really want to go to the dealership. That's okay. Genesis will come to you. They'll bring you one of their brand ambassadors. You get behind the wheel of the car. If you decide, yep, this is the one I want. E-contract is available for you. They'll deliver the vehicle to you. You never have to set foot on the lot. It's a convenience that you come to know and love about Genesis of Baton Rouge. And once you make that purchase, your maintenance is like that as well. They'll come to you, bring you a loaner, bring your car back, get it serviced, bring it right back to you. You never miss a beat. Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared for when the power goes out. Visit louisianapropane.com to find out about propane generators and other safety tips. Louisiana Propane, it truly is the fuel for our future.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, we'll get to What If Wednesday here in our next segment. If you've got some what ifs in the Bayou Ford chat, want to fire those at us, we will be taking them. You can also hit me up on Twitter at HuntPalmer88. We'll get to those in our next segment. JD Pickell in our number 2. I teased at the end of the last segment about a potential positive in an injury, and that's radio lingo. There's no positive in someone getting hurt, right? Like, that's a bad deal. And Julian Blackmon's injury in week 1 sucks. He's a guy the Saints kind of found on the scrap heap a little bit. And then he came into camp and you're like, this guy can play. Earns a spot and played really well when he was on the field. And then you find out after he went home, according to Kellen Moore, that he tore his labrum and is going to miss the entire season. And that is just awful. And so Julian Blackmon will rehab and hope that he comes back and can forge his path in the NFL, hopefully in New Orleans. He's a really good player. But the fact remains that the Saints now have to play without him. And the fact remains that Tyrann Mathieu retired a couple months ago. So your proven depth at safety is a little bit thin, right? So when I point to a potential positive, it's a relative in terms of speaking. Like, I think that you have a chance to maybe find something that you wouldn't have found had Blackmon played the entire year. Now, the two obvious answers to fill in for him, aside Justin Reed, are Jordan Howden and Jonas Sanker. Howden has been on the team for 2 years. He has played in 33 games, sorry. He started 11 times, and he's been a pretty productive player. He's not an all-pro. He's not a Pro Bowler. He hasn't been a star by any stretch, but he has been fairly productive. In his first year as a rookie in 2023, he made 43 tackles and had a sack. Last year, as a 24-year-old, he played in 17 games, had 4 starts, and he made 50 tackles. So that's reasonable production for a non-starter who's given you some quality reps. He can certainly play special teams. And he's young. You're talking about a guy that's 25 years old. I'm probably more intrigued with Jonas Sanker, though. And I hope that he's the guy. We understand that Howden's dealt with some health issues, and we'll see at what point he's ready to go, if that's this week or not. But Sanker is a guy you found in the middle rounds, in the 3rd round. And while it is preseason, and I'm not here to just completely gas up preseason stats in Pro Football Focus rankings, he was good in the preseason. In the first game against the Chargers, his defensive grade was 78.2. Then In the second game against Jacksonville, 75.6. And in the third game against Denver, it was 72.1. All of his grades were between 72 and 78. That is really quality work. I get it. It's preseason, but that is quality work. And the other part of it is it's not a tiny sample size. It's not like, oh, we played 8 snaps. He graded 76. Like, that's pretty good. He played 151 snaps in the preseason. He was really productive at Virginia. And the game wasn't too fast for him in the preseason. So what have I always been saying for the last year and a half, right? I'm looking at the next great Saints team. Who can help me on the next great Saints team? As awesome as it was to see Cam Jordan notch a sack and a half, as awesome as it was to see Demario Davis played a 90 level on Pro Football Focus, can I really count on those guys to be really good players for the next great Saints team? I have my doubts. Maybe Demario Davis just beats Father Time for 3 more years, and I'm wrong. Happy to be so. Would be thrilled. But I'm looking for younger players. And if Julian Blackmon and Justin Reed are your starting safeties, Jonas Sanker and Jordan Howden are not going to get a huge opportunity to play. And so, while I would rather have those Reed and Blackmon, who are not old players, by the way, play for this Saints team to make them the best Saints team they could be, I think getting a look at these two guys, whichever way you want to slice it, you want to start Sanker, you want to start Howden, you want to split their reps, you want them to compete. Like, I'm not really partisan one way or another on which of these guys gets an opportunity or in what capacity, but they watch practice and I don't. I want to see one of these guys go. The Saints are in a position where a third-round pick probably needs to help you, and that's what Sanker is. And he's showing you the signs of someone who's going to help you in the preseason. So I'm going to take a negative, and the Blackmon injury is absolutely a negative, and kind of try to look at the positive. And if Sanker goes out there and balls out while he gets an opportunity, well, you're finding young building blocks on this team. The secondary is something we have talked about a lot with this Saints team and the youth in this secondary that needs to form a real foundation to what the Saints are doing moving forward. I'm losing some faith in some of the offensive line pieces, Ruiz very much in particular. But in the secondary, it's Alontae Taylor, it's Kool-Aid McKinstry, it's Jonas Sanker, it's Jordan Howden. It's honestly, Blackmon's pretty young, Reed's pretty young. That needs to be a foundation to what you're doing moving forward. None of it is important as the quarterback, but you've got some real opportunity here with some young players. So I feel terrible for Blackmon. But at the same time, I'm curious to see if Sanker can get this thing cooking, because we know this. This is indisputable. For the Saints to dig out of this hole, young, cheap players are going to have to emerge, likely from the draft. You can find an undrafted free agent here or there, yes. The Saints can make a trade here or there, yes. You will be able to sign some free agents over the next couple of years, yes. But the core of the team, the backbone of the team, and in my opinion, the future stars of this team, the Pro Bowlers on this team, are going to come from the draft. Because teams aren't very quick to part with Pro Bowlers in their 20s. And you don't find a lot of Pro Bowlers in the undrafted ranks. So the only way to get them is to draft them. Sanker, third-round pick, good preseason. Let's see it, man. Let's see it. I'm not asking him to play at a Pro Bowl level this week against San Francisco. I'm not asking him to play at a Pro Bowl level on the road at Seattle or on the road at Buffalo. But I am excited to give him a chance to go out there and see what he can do. These are some quality teams to get reps against. I don't know who the quarterback's going to be for San Francisco, but Christian McCaffrey's going to be running around out there. You want a welcome to the NFL? Go face Josh Allen's offense in a couple of weeks on the road. Let's see what you got. That's the beauty of the bottom of the rebuild. In its entirety, it sucks. As a fan, it sucks. Nobody wants to sit here and watch your team get beat and then come back on Monday and hear the talk show host go, oh, well, this got a little bit better, and I think this could be okay. And then all of a sudden you look up and you're 1-7. That sucks. It sucks to read websites, whether it's Yahoo or ESPN or Pro Football Focus or Bleacher Report or The Athletic or whoever, and everyone does a power rankings and they have the Saints 31st. That sucks. But the positive of it, even though it's a sliver, is to be able to look at this and go, hey, we're going to give this guy a shot, and if it doesn't go great, okay. No harm, no foul. A loss here or there on a given Sunday is not make or break for this team. It's not make or break for this franchise. And these are two guys who have shown some things, Howden in some productivity in non-starter duty and Sanker in the preseason, and none of those is exactly what you're looking for, but now's their shot. So these are the small positives that you're going to have to look for, and you might have to wait through some bad games by the quarterback and a first-year head coach screwing up timeouts at the end of a half, and you still got the same GM who a lot of people aren't confident in, and there's still some things, but some of these things can be positive on the field. And I'm excited to see what these guys can do in the back end of the Saints defense. I think there's a chance you've really got something. And these are the steps that have to happen to dig out of this disastrous roster situation that New Orleans has found itself in. So best wishes to Julian Blackmon. I hope that recovery is good, and I hope he's back with New Orleans next year. But to me, as I look at it, Howden and Sanker, put your shoulder pads on. Let's go. Let's see what you got. And I'm excited to watch a little bit of that. Hopefully the Saints find something at safety there. Our black and gold coverage, Hunt on Saints on YouTube or wherever you find your podcast. Appreciate y'all for subscribing up to that channel and checking things out on YouTube. All those segments carved up in about 10, 12-minute digestible YouTube videos or podcast form videos. You can find them, Hunt on Saints. You're looking for your Saints coverage. Ross Jackson's also got you covered at LouisianaSports.net. We will step aside. Those of you in the Bayou Ford chat, throw them back way. All those you're looking at us on Twitter as well at Hunt Palmer 88. Though those our way. It's What Ifs for What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team. 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. You think redesign, remodel, big, expensive projects. It doesn't have to be. It can be something pretty simple. Tub to shower conversion. Talked to David a couple of weeks ago. Said, how long do those take, generally speaking, tub to shower conversion from the time you come in, get rid of that old tub, put in that gorgeous walk-in shower? Like, how long are we talking? 3 to 5 days. You got 3 to 5 days to completely transform your bathroom, to make it completely different in terms of its functionality and its aesthetic, to go ahead and make sure that you're adding value to your home as well. You don't have to move to change your living situation. You just call One Bath and Closets, have David come in and put in that gorgeous shower. It's One Bath and Closets. You can get that free consultation, see pictures of their great work, and reviews from their satisfied customers at OneBathAndClosets.com. OneBathAndClosets.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. We got plenty to do over the next 90 minutes. LSU's baseball schedule is out for next year. I've got some thoughts. I actually looked at the schedule a little differently than a lot of folks. I saw a lot of folks on Twitter than the folks that cover the team were at player interviews yesterday for the football team and had a couple people ask me about it. I have a little bit of a different thought, and I'll get to that coming up in 15 minutes. We'll talk to Graham Hall from Swamp 24/7 at 2 o'clock. He covers the Florida Gators. JD Pickell from On3 Sports here at 2:15. And the next edition of our SEC Football Power Rankings coming up at 2:30. For right now, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
All right, first one here. What if you could earn double pay for the same hours or the same pay for half the hours?
Oh, that's easy for me.
It's very easy.
I realize I don't work 6 to 6 12-hour shifts here.
Yeah.
But I would easily take double pay for the same amount of hours.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen studies that suggest that my generation and younger, once the flexibility and time off, they don't care about money as much, which blows my mind.
Yes, but there also are a lot of studies finding, especially like in your other countries where they work 4 days a week, and they're typically more productive during those 4 days if they have the Friday off.
My wife wants a 4-day week. She says 5 days a week's too much, and I said if you worked 4 days, you would say that you wanted a 3-day week. She would just
well, you don't know
up and
that.
down.
It's possible.
I feel pretty comfortable.
Okay.
She works very hard, does very well, but she would prefer not to go to work at all.
Well,
which I think a lot of people may be in that boat.
Probably,
But yeah, for me, I'll take double the pay for. And the other part of this equation is like I read about, write about, and talk about sports, which is the only thing I really care about.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like their jobs at all, and I'm not in that boat, and maybe they would want to do it half as much. But yeah, I'll take double the pay for the same amount of hours.
All right, next one. What if someone makes a bad AP poll?
This has been amazing on the internet.
It has.
I mean, for those, I think everyone's pretty familiar, but those who haven't, there's an AP voter. I don't know her name. I don't care. I don't know who she works for. I don't care. I don't know who she writes, what paper or whatever she writes for. I don't care. None of it's important to me, and I don't know why it's important to so many people. But she had an AP poll that had some pretty glaring issues from week 1 to week 2. She moved Florida up after they lost to South Florida. They're ranked in front of South Florida. She's got, I think, Florida State ranked in front of Bama or behind Bama or something. Like, it doesn't matter. Why does anyone give a rip about the AP poll?
Because
like,
what
why?
else are they going to care about, Hunt?
the wins and losses, the playoff committee.
Yeah, but it's the ranking, Hunt. It's the ranking.
And like the AP, I looked this up today. The AP poll came to be in 1936. Because no one could watch any games on TV. And so no one really had an informed opinion. So we just got all these writers together, and we didn't have a playoff system. So somebody had to determine who was the champ. So we let the Associated Press, who created the news, do that. Well, guess what? That was 90 years ago.
It was.
So let's just not worry about that. If they want to have an AP poll, great. I think it's phenomenal. If you waste 1 ounce of breath or time worrying where your team is or is not ranked in the Associated Press poll, you have wasted your time.
Well,
it's absurd. Who cares? It literally doesn't matter. We have a playoff. We have a committee that ranks teams. They don't use the AP poll in their criteria. The only thing that matters is what's next to your team on the scoreboard, which, oh, by the way, doesn't matter. So why is anyone complaining about this?
You were just sorely underestimating people on Twitter and how much they like
amazing.
to get upset about things.
They love their team, and if you say something that is not exactly in line with what their team suggests, it's just you're just an idiot. I don't know how it's amazing how the internet operates.
It is.
And this blows my brain that we could spend this much. The internet was in a tizzy.
Oh yeah.
And how do we fix this? You don't fix it. It's the AP poll. You just leave it. I don't even know what LSU's ranked in the AP poll. I cover the team. I have no idea.
They are number 3.
Number 3, great. That's fantastic work.
Yep.
That's really relevant on September the 10th.
It's going to matter for
amazing.
About,
people
one
have to dial back what they concern themselves with.
All right, next one here. What if Myers wants to be messy for Halloween?
That appears to not be in the cards because I think we purchased a Halloween costume last night.
Oh, all right, dang.
So it's not messy unless he plays football for LSU, in which case.
So that's all right.
Looks like we got an LSU football player. The Keller man is going as a football.
All right.
I really was impressed with my wife's ability to find that costume. It was $9.
Wait, he's an LSU player or just...
Myers will be an LSU player. Keller will be a football.
Oh, nice.
A brown onesie with laces on.
You know what?
For
I am
$9.
pretty sure that my daughter has the same exact onesie because it's also a football with white stripes on it, and she wore it a couple weeks ago.
I might. I have team issued gear, so if I throw it on, I can look like an LSU football coach. I don't know if we're gonna get.
You get a headset.
I don't know if we're gonna get my wife involved in the group costume there. It's possible, I guess, but she ain't putting a cheerleader jersey on like Michael Scott's realtor in The Office.
Yeah.
But I think that she got a chance to put on some purple and gold. But that would be that's a comfortable Halloween costume for me because they give me gear that I don't really deserve every single August, so I'll wear some of that.
All right, next one here. What if the deep ball doesn't emerge this season for LSU along with the running game?
Meaning it neither emerges?
Well, I think it's just like
I
think
both. Well, they didn't have either last year.
Yeah.
And if they don't have either this year, they'll lose 4 games. Like that's what that means. If your offense is solely predicated on hitting slant routes and out routes for 6 yards at a time, you can't win at a championship level. Now they'll be better because they're better on defense, but you're just not going to win enough if you can't do those 2 things. I have my doubts about the running game. I have less doubts about the vertical game. Chris Hilton, Barryon Brown, Nick Anderson, and Aaron Anderson are going to hit some deep balls. It's a matter of time.
All right, next one here. What if you continued your basketball career and became a Hall of Famer in the NBA?
Who put that?
The LSU monster in the chat. Yeah. I mean, this has got to be one of the most far-fetched what ifs, obviously, but
yeah, I don't have a single requisite skill to play basketball at a Hall of Fame level.
Well, here's the thing, Hunt. I don't
have a single requisite physical attribute.
Well, that's the thing. You wouldn't have. It would not be from attributes. It would be. So here's what we'd have to do. You'd have to play a long time ago when the guys weren't as.
No, I would have to play against 5th graders. That's what I'd have to do.
Yeah, that's true.
And I would dominate there.
Yeah, you would.
We play on Myers' little Fisher-Price goal sometimes. I can block some shots.
Of course.
Which he enjoys. He laughs when I do that, so I have to do it. I feel kind of bad, but I just swat it 50 yards back.
Well, if he laughs at it, then
he does.
That's good. All right, next one here. What if? Let's see. I saw one earlier. It was about the Saints. That was interesting. Oh, here's one. What if Hunt talks about Anthony Rizzo's retirement and what he? Okay, well, I mean, all right. Well, we're probably going to talk about that maybe on Take It or Leave It, but
I get emotional talking about that.
Yeah, no kidding. All right. Yeah, let's see. Oh yeah, here's what it was. What if Sean Payton stayed and Mickey Loomis left? How different would the Saints be now?
Very different. I just trust Sean Payton in all aspects far more than Mickey Loomis, and the more time they spend apart, the more evidence builds that Payton was doing all the good in the organization and Loomis was just riding along, because Payton's already rebuilt that Denver roster with that front office and that organization ownership group into a real contender. And even though they don't have one of the best 10 quarterbacks in the league, I would argue, they're still a threat. And the Saints have not figured anything out at any position since Sean Payton left. I mean, I would suggest the Saints were pretty good in the defensive secondary for a few years after Payton left. But and Demario Davis is obviously a star, but that's not something that, I mean, he was there for Payton. So I think that Payton, this is not breaking news. There are probably a lot of people riding around like, obviously, and I would agree with that. Obviously, it had, but there's further evidence. The more decisions Mickey Loomis makes, and the more decisions Sean Payton makes as they're apart, the more you realize who was making the good calls in New Orleans.
All right, last one here. What if? Let's see, where was it? I just saw it. What if Elaine and Kramer dated? My goodness,
nobody can date Kramer.
There's no way. I mean,
as Jerry says in the show, I think he says 90-something% of society is undateable.
Yes.
And then George will goes, how are all these people getting together? He goes, alcohol.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's a tall percentage. But yeah, nobody can date Kramer. He's a goofball. He doesn't have a job.
Nope.
He is a lunatic. Tries ridiculous things that no one would ever try. Yeah, it wouldn't work.
No.
Elaine's got her quirks, but she could find a man theoretically.
Oh,
she
she
needs to
found
get away
plenty
from,
of them.
Get away from Putty.
Yes.
Who was maybe the best character on the show.
Go Devils.
Devils. All right, let's talk about the LSU baseball schedule. Let me say this before we get into it. I have access to the clicks that our stories get on the site, and the amount of people that will still click on baseball stuff during the middle of football, it does surprise me. It really does surprise me. I know how passionate this fan base is for baseball. Trust me. Very few people have as good an idea about that as I do. But it's still impressive to me because there are probably 14 other schools in the SEC who you couldn't get to give a rip about baseball during August and September. This one still does, and I posted some thoughts on the LSU baseball schedule yesterday, and we posted the schedule release yesterday, and it went bonkers on the site. So that's good stuff. So let's talk about the LSU baseball schedule. I have a little bit of a different take on it than most. We'll do that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Get in that pool of your dreams. Fall is coming, so this summer's in the rearview mirror. But you just spent this summer realizing how hot it is and how nice it would be to have that pool in your backyard. Make sure you don't go through another South Louisiana summer without your dream pool, without that outdoor kitchen. Go to BuiltByRenaissance.com. They will customize a pool to exactly what you're looking for in that pool. No matter what stage you are in life, no matter what your family and friend situation looks like, they will make sure that you've got a pool that meets all of your needs. And the best part is Joey Blanchard is going to be by your side the entire time. Well, who's Joey Blanchard? Well, Joey Blanchard's the owner of the company. So you've got someone who is quite literally invested in what's going on out there. And it's going to make sure that he's there for the design, he's there for the dig, he's there for the fill, he's there for the finish, and he is going to be proud, and you are going to be proud of that work that gets done at your home. It's BuiltByRenaissance.com. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools, BuiltByRenaissance.com.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award. You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, closing up hour number 1 here. We'll talk some Florida Gators coming up in our next segment at the top of hour number 2. We'll do that with Graham Hall from Swamp 24/7. Looking forward to that conversation. I'm curious about a number of things with Florida, but 2 injuries that have my attention for sure. One along the defensive line. They've got one of the best defensive tackles in the country in Caleb Banks, who has not played yet this season. I want to get an update on him. And then I just want to hear about DJ Lagway, because it just doesn't feel like he's healthy, or maybe he's just really rusty from not practicing. We'll get all of Graham's thoughts on that in hour number 2. LSU's baseball schedule was released in full yesterday, and I have my thoughts on it. I was asked twice about it yesterday, and the tone was like, it's a brutal schedule, huh? And like, yeah, I can make the case that it's like a really, really hard schedule. Like, the road slate has some really difficult trips, no doubt. But you can't play a schedule in this league that doesn't have some really difficult road trips. Like, Arkansas' schedule is a bit of an outlier, and I will absolutely grant you that. Arkansas does not play LSU. They don't play Texas. They don't play Tennessee. Like, it's as advantageous as you can get. So it's literally possible to have an easier schedule than most. But for the most part, if you look around the league, you're going to have a tough schedule. It just is what it is. And it's baked into the formula for the RPI and for the selection committee. That's the reason the SEC got 6 teams in the top 8 last year. So look at this schedule. You play 5 at home, 5 on the road, and you miss 5. It's 5, 5, and 5. That's how the schedule is chopped up. So who's missing from your schedule? Well, you're not going to play Arkansas, and Arkansas is going to be good. I know they lost a ton. Gabe Gackle will probably be at the front of the rotation, but they're going to be good, and you don't play them. Texas, year 2 under Schloss, stands to reason they're probably going to be pretty good. Auburn had a stellar freshman class last year of position players. And you don't play them. They're probably going to be pretty good. And then you don't play Alabama, and you don't play Missouri. Bama's middle of the pack. Missouri's going to be the worst team in the league forever and ever, amen. To not have Missouri on the schedule is a bad thing. I realize we can make our jokes about what they did to Texas A&M, and they swept A&M in College Station last year. They also got swept 9 times. So not having Missouri, especially when you consider how big a deal we think conference wins are, is a big deal. So I will grant you that as well. But not playing Arkansas, Texas, and Auburn, that's something. You've got a home schedule that I believe LSU can make hay on, and I think LSU will win a ton of games at the box this year. You get Oklahoma at home. They lost Kyson Witherspoon. They lost his brother Malachi. They lost Cade Crossland. Like, they lost their weekend rotation. You lose a top 15 pick at Oklahoma, that's usually hard to recover from. Now, the Cubs have one who's dominating right now, and they got Kyson Witherspoon after him. So you can continue to get some guys, but like Oklahoma, I don't believe it's going to be great next year. Then you've got Kentucky coming to the box. I never believe in Kentucky's model and their ability. Like, I think they have limited pitching, limited power. We'll see what they are next year, but that's generally been the MO. LSU will have more talent than Kentucky. South Carolina comes here. Paul Maneri returns to Baton Rouge. They went nuts in the transfer portal, but their team this past year was atrocious, and they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league again, I think. I don't think they're just going to bring in all these transfers and automatically be a top 5-6 team in the SEC. I don't see it. I don't think they'll be very good. Texas A&M comes here. They lost Jace Laviolette. They lost Ryan Prager. They lost Justin Lampkin. They lost a couple really good bullpen pieces. They've got talent. Caden Sorrell is really good, and obviously Gavin Grahovic coming back is really good. And Shadane Shadeo will come back, and he's probably the front of the rotation. Like, they've got talent, but I think their coach is way over his head, and we'll see what they are. They didn't make the tournament last year. They come to Baton Rouge, and then Florida comes here. You know what Florida's SEC record is in the last 2 years? Since they walked off the field in Omaha, losers in 2023. The last 2 years in the SEC, they're 28-32. Like, they just haven't been great the last 2 years. They did make Omaha 2 years ago, but they were a losing team in the Southeastern Conference and the last team in the tournament. So that's Oklahoma, Kentucky, South Carolina, A&M, and Florida at home. It's not a great home slate for you, the season ticket holder, not big on headlines. You should be able to win a lot of those 15 games. A lot of those 15 games. So I think that missing Arkansas, missing Texas, missing Auburn, and getting that group at home, that is advantageous. Now, yes, your road schedules are tough. Going to Knoxville is freaking brutal. This Mississippi State team is going to be very good. Going to that stadium is always brutal. And then you've got to go to Athens, where I don't know what they're going to be next year. They've continued to kind of overhaul that thing, and they've been a very offensive program under Wes Johnson. And when they are like that, they hit a ton of home runs in that little bitty ballpark. But again, they've had a lot of turnovers, so I don't know exactly what that'll be. I don't think Ole Miss is going to be great. You go there, and I don't know about Vanderbilt either. They just haven't looked like Vanderbilt. I know they were the number 1 seed this past year, and I'm not going to dismiss that completely. I'm also not going to buy all the stock in it. I think they got hot late. They won a meaningless SEC tournament that jumped them over a couple of league teams they probably shouldn't have been over. And their strength of schedule was phenomenal. But, yeah, I think Knoxville and Starkville and Athens are going to be tough places to play, and then Ole Miss and Vanderbilt, generally good environment, good talent. It's a tough road slate. But I think that if you start to pick away at this, and if you feel like LSU can win 10 of those 15 at home against some of those teams that I think are very manageable and that LSU can beat, the Kentuckys and Oklahomas and South Carolinas of the world, like, you start to carve a pretty good path to trying to get home field through regional play, which is really the key. LSU shouldn't stare at any schedule with any sort of fear at all. You've got as good a program as there is in college baseball right now, as good a coach as there is in college baseball right now, and a great home field advantage. Every schedule in the SEC is tough, save Arkansas's next year, which is a joke. But I'm just not – I don't look at it as petrified as some people do. Because of what you get at home and what talent you have coming back on this team. So that's just my 2 cents on the schedule. They don't start fall practice for another 3 or 4 weeks, so Still got some time before that cranks up, but always going to dip my toe in the baseball waters when that comes available and LSU schedule is up. If you like to read my long-form thoughts, I've actually got some non-conference schedule thoughts up at louisianasports.net right now, so if you got some time today and want to go check that out, you can for free at louisianasports.net. It's titled 3 Thoughts, LSU's 2026 baseball schedule, and it's up there right now, so go check that out if you would like. All right, that's it for hour number 1. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. If you like, subscribe, rate, review, we always appreciate that. I opened the show talking about Sadir Mitchell moving on from the football program and just how huge the hit rate has been in this transfer portal class. He's the one that really hasn't been. Jakeem Jackson, maybe the other to this point in time. I also talked about the Saints and safety. Jonas Sanker, Jordan Howden. Can those guys step in when given an opportunity they may not have seen coming their way 7 days ago? It's What If Wednesday. We got into a little bit of that. That's all in hour number 1. Hunt on Saints, Hunt on LSU is where you can find it. We'll pause for Sports Center, get you some national headlines. J.D. Pickell in 20 minutes talking national college football. Graham Hall from Swamp 24/7 talking Florida Gators as they get ready to head to Baton Rouge. We'll do that coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club here in Baton Rouge. You want to work on your game, but it's tough to find the time. Weather's not conducive to it because it's so hot and you don't want to go hit golf balls on a driving range when it's 97 degrees outside or rains every afternoon, but you'd like to get some work in. You can do it at Swing Easy Golf Club because they've got 3 indoor golf simulators that have got all the information necessary for you to work on your game. You set the driving range mode, you hit shots, you can see where they go, if they draw, hook, slice, fade. You can see what your ball speed is, how far the ball's carrying. You also got a great look at a slow-mo impact of your golf club as you make impact, and you can see where you're striking the ball. I found that to be really, really helpful when I went and checked it out a couple of weeks ago. If you're looking for an opportunity to have a spot to work on your game in a climate-controlled setting, Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge can do it. They're at Segan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Ed Benkin. NFL teams are back at practice today, getting ready for this weekend's action. The Jets have cut wide receiver Xavier Gibson. He had a costly fumble in the team's season-opening loss to Pittsburgh. Meanwhile, the Dolphins are looking to regroup after their blowout loss to the Colts, and Coach Mike McDaniel understands the frustration with people connected to his team, both inside and outside the facility.
I don't envy anybody that's covering or any fan or anybody that is Dolphins, because you're still living in a place that, I mean, that was embarrassing, as I said.
The Dolphins host the Patriots on Sunday, and Patriots defensive coordinator Terrell Williams will be away for the team this week due to what the team is calling unforeseen circumstances. To baseball, one game underway. The team with the best record of baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers, leads Texas 2-0 as they play in the second inning. Former Cubs star Anthony Rizzo will return to Chicago to announce his retirement. The team will honor Rizzo before their game on Saturday at home against the Tampa Bay Rays. Cubs back in action later today as they finish their series with the Braves.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Thursday. He looked good in a Week 1 loss, but I'll tell you if I'm buying the idea that Justin Fields is the answer to the Jets' quarterback woes. It's unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from downtown Baton Rouge. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Half that work week officially in the rearview mirror for us. Appreciate you hanging out here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge, working towards the weekend. And this weekend, renewal of a big-time rivalry in the Southeastern Conference, LSU and Florida, Saturday night in Death Valley, just after 6:30 for kickoff. Graham Hall covers the Florida Gators for Swamp 24/7. Good enough to give us a little bit of time here on this Wednesday. Graham, we appreciate that time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. It's an exciting time. Definitely an interesting one in Gainesville, though.
Yeah, it's an interesting one in Gainesville. It's interesting in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be an interesting one Saturday night for sure. Let's talk about those interesting times in Gainesville. Obviously, the Billy Napier era has never really taken off, but last year they did recover and play really well when all hope seemed to be lost. Is there a sense there that they could do that again after a brutal loss last weekend?
I think that's certainly the hope for a lot of people. And you noted that win streak at the end of the year, the win over Long Island, 5 consecutive wins, and a lot of promising pieces for Florida returning on both sides of the ball, from Caleb Banks, Jake Slaughter, Austin Barber, a lot of experience, and of course DJ Lagway. There was a lot of optimism for him after his freshman season, but then it was certainly derailed by his ongoing health concerns, the shoulder that kept him out of spring, and then the calf strain that kept him out for the majority of fall camp. He looks like someone who's kind of, I've been saying, freshman year 2.0. He doesn't really look like he got the strides or was able to make the strides that they were looking for him to make throughout the previous 9 months. So a lot of people are certainly kind of back to where they were at this time last year when Florida started 1-2, and there was all this speculation surrounding Billy Napier and whether he would make it through the end of the year. And then obviously Florida makes some improvements and is more competitive down the stretch. Now they're forced to do that a lot sooner than they were last year, or else this thing could certainly go off the rails when you look at Florida's schedule, not just LSU this weekend, but then Miami, Texas, going to Texas A&M. It certainly is a daunting slate, and if the Gators can't be more competitive and turn it around here, we may see a coaching change before the year is up. And so it is certainly a make-or-break time right now in Gainesville, and I think there's a lot of frustration surrounding it because of how familiar it feels. Self-inflicted mistakes, special teams miscues and penalties. They had 3 missed field goals in the first game, and then They had a bad snap on a punt go out of the end zone for a safety, 2 points and a 2-point loss to USF. So it seems like Florida can't get out of their own way, and I think that's why a lot of people are frustrated. They have all the talent and have landed top 10 classes, but it's them beating themselves right now.
Let's talk further about DJ Lagway. I'm not sure what kind of access y'all get to fall camp and practices and whatnot, but what's your sense of how much he was able to practice in August, and what's your sense of his health right now?
Well, I think a lot of the concerns about his shoulder, his downfield throwing ability, I think it's too soon to hit the panic button with those, and he certainly looks mobile. He's been able to take off, use his legs, a guy who certainly looks like he maybe could get into a little bit better shape. You know, he's added weight to his frame, and there aren't many quarterbacks at the next level that can play at over 245 pounds. Those, I think, would be the health concerns that people are more worried about, his long-term availability and making sure that he gets into better and better shape. I do think, though, that for him, you're seeing someone who still struggles to read zone defenses, zeroes in on his primary read, is comfortable checking down, needs to, I think, get more confident in reading the defense and audibling out of a play call there. This is someone who, like I said, didn't do anything in spring when it comes to throwing the ball and then had the calf strain at the end of the off-season workout program. So he didn't start doing 11 on 11 until I think about 12 days before the season opener. So really that last week of fall camp and then the build-up to the game against Long Island. So he's less than a month into being a full practice participant, and you're still seeing him make some strides. He adjusted his mechanics to not aggravate that shoulder, and I think you're seeing some errant throws due to that, him not being really comfortable with the throwing motion yet, and still trying to get into a groove of things after being away from the field for probably the longest time since he was, 13 years old. This is a guy who is used to being out there every single day, and he was sidelined. So still a quarterback who hasn't done a ton. All we've heard is that he keeps getting exponentially better, taking steps in the right direction, but you still haven't seen that downfield explosive throwing ability, which was kind of a staple of his last year, where he had over 12 plays of 40-plus yards through the air last year as a freshman in just 7 games. So that's what a lot of Florida fans are waiting on, and they need him to cut down on the mistakes. He had an interception against USF last week. He averaged around 1 pick every 21 throws last year as a freshman as well. And you can't make those if you aren't making explosive plays. If you're turning the ball over and missing your targets and failing to capitalize, you're not going to be able to have a ton of success in this league.
One of the things that helps a quarterback, young or old, is a great ground game, and we know that Jaden Ball is incredibly talented. I saw this reel from Todd McShay. I don't even know if it's right or not, but I saw it earlier this morning. Said that he got 6 touches on the first drive and then 12 the rest of the game against South Florida, and that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. What do you think they're going to try to get done with Jaden Ball in this game, and do they need to involve him more?
I agree they need to involve him more. I mean, that's kind of a head-scratcher. I had tweeted out that after that first drive against USF, I think he had 5 carries for 51 yards in the opening minutes of the game, and then you really see Florida kind of go away from him for a good bit. They're going to rotate there consistently. They really like what they have in redshirt senior Jacoby Jackson, and Katie Daniels and Duke Clark are probably your 3rd and 4th backs right now. But as much as they want to take a by-committee approach and keep guys fresh for the next level and for the rest of the season, Jaden Baugh is clearly your best running back, and if the Gators aren't getting it done through the air, you need to ride Baugh as much as you possibly can. He should be a guy who gets double-digit carries in every single game, if not 20 or more, because he's someone who is, they talked about in the offseason, your strongest pound-for-pound player. He's shattered weight room records. He's elusive. He's got good vision, hard to bring down in the open field. And for Florida, they're probably going to need to look to establish the run at a higher rate starting this weekend, just given what we talked about with Lagway, some of the defensive issues so far. They just gave up nearly 400 yards to USF. They're going to need to establish the run, and Jaden Baugh should be their primary weapon. I'm looking for him to be used early and for Florida not to go away from him down the stretch in this game unless it gets entirely out of hand, and then Florida has to really just rely on the passing game to make up some ground. Early on in the contest, they should use Baugh heavily.
You mentioned Caleb Banks a little bit earlier. He's not played yet this year, but he was part of a Florida defensive line that absolutely wrecked LSU's really good offensive line from a pass rush perspective last year in Gainesville. What can you tell us about Banks' injury, health, and potential availability for this week?
Yeah, he's been dealing with ankle injuries really dating back to last season. He had off-season surgery on his ankle and then suffered some unknown injury to his ankle, maybe the foot, closer to the foot area from what I've heard, in fall camp. Didn't play the first 2 weeks. I had someone tell me that he could have played last week, but they wanted to be extra cautious with him. I do think that it's very likely that he is available this week, but just given how those things take to heal up fully, the ankle flexion that you need as an interior defensive lineman, I could see why they maybe take a little bit even more of a cautious approach and aren't going to fully clear him yet when the availability report comes out in about 5 hours from now. This is someone, though, that due to the depth on the interior of the defensive line, you really need Banks back because Florida has Jamari Lyons also coming back from a compound fracture to his ankle that he suffered last year, missed the entire 2024 season. Mekhi Barrow is a promising sophomore. Brendan Bett, we'll see what his status is after he was ejected for that spitting penalty in the fourth quarter against USF. They need a guy like Banks back. So if they do get him back, that would be huge for him because go back to that LSU game last year. He was just an absolute menace, especially in the third and fourth quarter. I think he had 2.5 sacks against that LSU offensive line that had come into the game last year in the second week of November, only allowing, I think, 6 sacks on the season, and then the Gators get 7 of them. So Florida's going to need to generate pressure, and Banks is a huge component in their ability to do that on Saturday.
What's the biggest key for Florida in this game on Saturday night, either side of the ball?
I mean, they can't shoot themselves in the foot. I think that is probably what people are most concerned about with Florida. They have the talent. They have a good quarterback. They're good at the skill positions. They're talented at wide receiver, running back, tight end. They have the most experienced offensive line in the SEC. They have depth at edge, promising linebackers, and experience in the third level of the defense. But it doesn't matter if you have all that and you're going out there and committing double-digit penalties and extending drives and making mistakes on special teams, giving up safeties, struggling to substitute correctly. You go back to that USF game, the only touchdown that USF had in the game was on, you look at that play, Florida's running off the field. They look like they're struggling to get the play call in. There's miscommunication in the secondary, and then Singleton ends up getting a 66-yard touchdown. I mean, those things cannot happen, and that's going to be even tougher in a hostile environment where everyone's against you and you're facing the most productive quarterback in the SEC a year ago. If Florida avoids turnovers, penalties, executes, establishes the run, gets the play call in consistently, I think they're going to have a chance in this game. But if they make all those mistakes I just mentioned, they're going to be out of this game pretty quickly in my mind, and the frustrations in Gainesville are only going to further amplify, even though it already feels like it's at a fever pitch right now with everyone calling for Billy Napier to be parted ways with here in Gainesville and people questioning whether DJ Lagway really is this generational talent that so many proclaimed him to be after 6 games last year.
I think we all know what a loss would mean. You're alluding to it right there. But what would a win mean for Florida? Do you think that it would right the ship?
It'd be like Men in Black, where he erases the memory. People would forget about the USF loss. I mean, if you go into Death Valley and win at Tiger Stadium and you get that first SEC win, you prove to 2-1, people are not just going to feel better about Billy Napier and everything we just mentioned. They're going to feel better about Florida's chances for success moving forward. They have another road game after this where they have to go down to a Miami team who's taking on USF this weekend. So we'll know, I think, a little bit more about both of those teams. And then they have a bye week. And you go back to what happened with Florida last year, they really credited that bye week for those improvements. So if they can win either one of these upcoming 2 games, LSU or Miami, or potentially both, and then you go into a bye week, get a little bit healthier, take on a Texas team that I don't think looks as good as a lot of people thought that they would, got to travel to College Station, Florida fans are going to feel a lot better about that game. The narrative is going to be reset about Florida after so many people hit the panic button and said, oh, they're not going to even be potentially a bowl-eligible team by season's end. If this continues, you're going to get back to the restoration of some hope here in Gainesville that Florida can actually contend for a spot in the college football playoff as long as they take care of business the rest of the down the stretch. But they have to absolutely look competitive in this game. I think that even if they don't win this game, if you are in it in the fourth quarter and you get beat by a couple plays or LSU just comes out and beats you, people aren't going to be as angry as they were as losing to an unranked USF team where Florida made consistent mistakes. You have to be competitive and make people believe that you're cleaning some things up and making progress, not continuing to get into your own way.
He's Graham Hall from Swamp 24/7, covering the Gators for the 24/7 network. Appreciate a little bit of time, and enjoy the rest of your week and some football on Saturday.
My pleasure. Can't wait for Saturday. Y'all take care down there.
Sure will. That is Graham Hall from Swamp 24/7. That availability report will be interesting tonight. Again, I am not married to them when it comes to college football. I think the NFL has really cracked down with what they reveal, and you can kind of take those to the bank to an extent. College, I'm not sure is to that point. So whatever LSU says about Braylon Moore, whatever they say about Trey'Dez Green, we'll see what ends up happening. Whatever Florida does say about Caleb Banks, we'll see. Those are obviously very impactful pieces to this puzzle, depending on whether or not they're available or not. Tomorrow, I'm going to spend a lot of time on Florida's defensive front. It includes Caleb Banks, a defensive tackle. It includes Tyreek Sapp at edge. Those two guys were part of a Florida defense that just annihilated LSU last year. That can't happen this time. And so one way or another, whether Banks plays or not, you got to do a better job of keeping Garrett Nussmeier upright and trying to run the football than you did last year in Gainesville. And certainly, if you're Florida, when you run Robertson that defense, you're thinking if we can recreate what we did last year against an offensive line that's not as good on paper, we got a real chance to go into Tiger Stadium and win. It's a big, big, big piece to what we're looking at here in this game on Saturday night. All right, let's step aside when we come back. J.D. Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports, next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website, LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net, powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority, it's our purpose.
At Sunshine, we know what you see when you look at your land. Where others may see dirt, you see the foundation you've built your life on. This, it's hallowed ground. It's past, present, and future. We're proud to provide quality John Deere equipment to help you maintain the land you love. Check out our current promotions and learn more about what it means to be powered by sunshine at sunequip.com.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Chugging along here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. That means we always talk to our guy, JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3, sometimes hour 1, sometimes in this case, hour number 2. We make it work. He joins us now on the Jim's Firearm Sightline. JD, how we doing, boss?
Man, I'm doing better now. Hearing your voice coming through my AirPods out here in Nashville, Tennessee. I mean, how about you just making a play, man? Play breaks down. I text you before the segment, hey, man, can you bump me back? You roll out. Deliver a missile at 2:15 here Central Time. Pleasure being on with you, man. Thanks for adding a little bit here.
Absolutely. Let's rock and roll with last week's action. Oklahoma, how good are they?
I think they're good enough to win any game, Hunt. Now, will they win any game? Will they win every game? That to me is something that we got to see. The running back room step up a little bit here and be a little more present. But man, the things that I will say is I took away two things being verifiably real to this point in the college football season about Oklahoma. And one is that defense is a Brent Venables brand defense. It's not your off-brand. It looks like Coca-Cola, but it's actually just like, a red label on a dark soda where you say it's kind of like Coke, but not really. No, that's the real thing. That's a Brent Venables defense. And then the John Mateer effect of the different confidence and swagger and edge that Oklahoma did not have a year ago, they have with that dude playing quarterback, along with all the other things he brings, throwing the ball downfield and his legs and all that. So Oklahoma, they could be a playoff team. That schedule is still a bear and a half, but Oklahoma, they're good enough to give anybody a game, regardless of who's on the schedule.
Let's go across that state then. Oregon 69, Oklahoma State 3. Are we at the end of an era in Stillwater?
I think it's a matter of when, not if now at this point. Doesn't it kind of feel that way? I mean, I think that what Mike Gundy has done at Oklahoma State is nothing short of phenomenal. I don't know how many more coaches we'll see stick at a program as long as he has, but it feels sort of almost by his own omission, like, hey, we do not have the resources to compete at the level with the Oregons, with the rest of college football as well. So it feels to me like either Oklahoma State needs to try to find a way to supercharge some resources out there, or Mike Gundy's gonna pivot away. I almost feel like there's somebody that needs to step in here and be the face of that change financially for Oklahoma State at the head coaching spot. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Mike Gundy, a man over 40 now, and I think it's probably a thing that is very much on a pitch count here as we finish up this experience out there in Stillwater.
Did you learn anything about Oregon in a 69-3 win, or is it more about what's going on at Oklahoma State?
I think Oregon's so deep, man. I really do. Like, I know it's tough to talk about the trenches because it just felt like they were two different planets, but Dante Moore looks really freaking good. Like, I think they got another one at quarterback there. Ja'Cory Moore, the freshman receiver, does not look like a freshman. Gaines Sadiq's going to be an All-American tight end. I feel very strongly saying that. I mean, they lined him up at quarterback, Hunt. I don't know if you saw that. He's out there running a wildcat. Like, how highly you have to think of any player, much less your tight end, to say, no, we want to directly snap the football to you. I think Oregon is going to be playing for a Big Ten championship again this year. I think they are not losing a step, even with all the pieces they lost in the NFL.
There was a lot of murmuring going around the press box in the stadium, in Tiger Stadium, on Saturday, not because LSU and Louisiana Tech were locked up in a kind of tight game because Troy was beating Clemson 16-0. Is that cause for concern for LSU fans at all, or just it's just tough to get up off the mat and play once you've had a tough loss like that in the opening weekend?
I think it's probably more of a hangover spot for LSU and for Clemson. Like, I think we didn't see either look that awesome. Excuse me, I'm allergic to the showing we saw offensively from Clemson. Both teams live, so I just need to talk about that. But no, I mean, I think the emotional output we saw from both teams in week one, it makes sense. There was a little bit of a hangover. The thing that makes me nervous for Clemson is how bad they looked on the offensive line against Troy. Like, against LSU, you can say, okay, LSU got some good players. They got a lot they're going to play on Sundays in that front seven, like Baker, et cetera, et cetera. But, like, Hunt, Troy was getting pressure with 4 and getting home against Clay Klubnik. So maybe it's a intentionality thing, but I worry about that offensive line. I still think they're a playoff team. I still think they're going to be one of those teams in the mix at the end. But you got to figure out what you're doing on the offensive line if you're Clemson.
Mississippi State stuns Arizona State at the Bell there in Starkville. 24-20 was the final. I think that it's interesting on both sides. Arizona State was a top 15 team that's coming off a playoff berth with a quarterback coming back. I mean, do you feel like that's an indication of what their fall is going to look like, or is Mississippi State taking a step forward?
I think it's a combo, not to ride the fence too much here. Like, I think the pressure on Arizona State to be that team this year in college football with what you mentioned, all they brought back, the quarterback, all those things. Like, I don't want to play losing a game as a positive ever, but I do think there's something to be said for having that pressure bubble burst a little bit for you to where it's like, okay, we don't have to be perfect. We're not going to be perfect. That's now out there. We got to reset and kind of digest this humble pie and get back to what got us to where we wanted to be a season ago. So I think Arizona State's still going to be in the mix in the Big 12. I'm not too worried about them. I think it's more of a testament to that team staying the course behind Jeff Levy. Like, after everything that happened last year, after everyone on that roster and what they've been through from a season ago and all the things they've heard people like me say about them, like, to be able to have a performance like that at home against a team like that in ASU, I think it just speaks to kind of what he's building there in Starkville. So I think it's an ASU conversation, but I think it says more about where Mississippi is right now.
Now let's move forward to the week to come. Let's start. We're going to get to Florida and LSU at the end, and South Florida is a part of that conversation. But we can tie it in here because they go to Miami for a top 20 showdown. Miami is 17.5-point favorite. Do you feel like South Florida, the way they played the first 2 weeks, can go down there and scare Mario Cristobal and company?
I think they could, but here's my worry, Hunt. Like, you're not sneaking up on anybody anymore. Maybe the Boise State game, Florida didn't take quite as seriously as they should have, clearly. But even going back and watching that, and Billy Napier mentioned it multiple times, like, Florida should the funny word in college football, but had a lot of opportunities to make that game somewhat lopsided towards Florida. It just came down to taking 3s instead of 7, and then the penalties. Like, there was a lot of moments where Florida just kind of shot themselves in the foot. And I think for Miami, you have now a 4-quarter expose, if you will, on how you should not approach a game against USF. So I think that's one part of it. I also think the thing that concerns me about USF is I have to imagine competitively now they have maxed out in some ways these first 2 weeks in terms of, like, the emotional investment into a game and the preparation. And, like, it's been so just intense for them the last 2 weeks beating 2 ranked teams. I worry a little bit about the competitive stamina of a team like that is sort of acclimating to having success at that level. So I think it's about Miami this week. It was about Florida last week, to be transparent. I think Miami wins. I think Miami covers at 17.5.
Texas A&M Notre Dame. That's in South Bend, 6.5-point favorite. Seems a little bit heavy for me for Notre Dame. How do you feel about that one up there in South Bend?
I like A&M outright. Like, I think it's a thing where A&M wins the money line. Now, I won't get greedy. I'll probably just take the plus 6.5 for those that watch the show. But I picked this game a year ago where Notre Dame goes to College Station and just sat there and said, man, it feels like Notre Dame is the more put-together team to have. It feels like a more sure thing in quarterback. It's Mike Elko's first year at A&M. It's his first game. Like, all these things. And I sit with the same matchup a year later. And as good as that Notre Dame roster is, I feel like A&M is a more put-together team at quarterback and the skill players and all those things. So Jeremiah Love's incredible. Marcus Freeman, can make you look stupid picking a game against his team any given Saturday. But I think that A&M wins that football game, and I think Marcel Reed has a big day with their offensively.
Vandy, South Carolina is really spicy. That one's in Columbia. Two teams are 2-0. Both teams have a nice win out of conference. South Carolina's a 5.5-point favorite. What do you think?
How about the quarterback matchup for that one, huh?
Yeah.
Little Pavia versus Sellers. Like, that'll be, if nothing else, that's going to be must-see TV. Go back and preparing for that matchup this week on our own prediction show. There's something that worries me about Vanderbilt, which is defending the read option with the quarterback run game. Like there was, and that maybe they'll pivot. You would hope they'd pivot with Noah Sellers and how he operates running the football, but Vanderbilt, for whatever reason, struggles so heavily against the quarterback run game with Kyron Drones. And Kyron Drones, if he beats you, the Virginia Tech quarterback, rather, he'll take it for 7, take it for 10, still a first down, not a good look for your defense. But like what Kyron Jones takes for a first down, Lenore Sellers will take to the crib. And so if they don't adjust there, I think South Carolina's going to win. South Carolina's going to cover.
All right, Florida LSU Saturday night in Death Valley. Florida coming off a stunner of a loss to South Florida. LSU's a 7.5-point favorite. That's down from 9.5. How do you see it?
If LSU didn't have a little bit of a letdown themselves against Louisiana Tech, I might actually be a touch more nervous about this one. I still think something weird is going to happen. I don't know if it'll be someone throws a shoe. I don't know if someone steals a wristband and it's found on the sideline like it was in 1960. I don't know what weird we're signing up for here. It'll be something weird. I think LSU wins. The coverage part of this is interesting to me, Hunt. It opened at 9.5, down to 7.5. I like Florida plus the 9.5, maybe plus 7.5. I lean more towards LSU. I still think LSU wins, but I think this is the most dangerous version of Florida that LSU could be getting coming off of that loss to USF. Everyone's talking about Billy Napier. We've seen this Florida team plays for him before. We had him all cooked a year ago, 2 in week 2 after the A&M loss. So I think it's a dangerous Florida team, but I think that if you're a national title caliber team, which I believe LSU is, you take care of teams like this in this spot, and I think LSU does. They win. Again, I don't know I'd stay away from that number, but I do think LSU wins the ball game.
Looking for college football coverage, you can find it on On3's YouTube channel. Our guy JD Pickell is all over it. He's actually with us every single Wednesday as well. We appreciate the time. Enjoy the football this weekend, sir.
I appreciate you being a playmaker with me, man. I appreciate you. You have a great one. Enjoy the weekend.
You too. That's JD Pickell from On3 Sports, host of The Hard Count. Find it wherever you find your podcast. SEC Football Power Rankings next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. It's storm season still. Make sure your property policy is in place. Property policy should be in place and properly written no matter what time of year it is. But this time of year here in South Louisiana along the Gulf Coast that hurricanes are always a distinct possibility. So make sure your property policy is in place. How do you do that? Well, you can go through and read every word of it, or you could say, hey, Highland Insurance Group, please audit my policy. Tell me what you find. If you see any concerns, tell me how we need to fix that. They're happy to do it. The audit doesn't cost anything. Just let them look. They look at it. If everything looks like it's in order, it's great. If there are issues, which a lot of times there are, they can help you make sure that in the event of a hurricane, in the event of a car accident, in the event of a cyber attack, in the event of a lawsuit, a workers' comp injury, no matter what the case may be, that your insurance program as a whole is ready to respond. That's what they do. That's why they win business. That's why they keep business at the Highland Insurance Group, because they're experts from the coverage perspective. So you want to make sure your business is protected. Contact Jonathan Carbo and the Highland Insurance Group right here in Baton Rouge. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to pipe fabrication, time is money. And at River Parish Contractors, we make every second count. Our 36,000 square foot shop is ready to take on your projects right now. With experienced welders, precise fittings, and fast turnarounds you can trust. Whether it's a single custom spool or a full-scale run, we have the capacity and the skill to keep your job on schedule. Call us or visit rpcontractors.com for your quote. That's rpcontractors.com.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information and to find a propane dealer near you, visit louisianapropane.com.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking to put in that outdoor kitchen, make it a great entertaining area for you. Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it, of course. They can handle your swimming pool as well. Joey Blanchard and his team have helped dozens and dozens and dozens of people in the Baton Rouge area make sure that their dreams come true. Their dream of owning and having that pool and entertaining area in the backyard. I give you Joey's cell phone number every single week, and the beauty of contacting Joey directly is that he's the owner of the company, so he can make sure that you're taken care of from start to finish. You sit down with Joey, you go through their incredible software that allows you to design and lay out the pool of your dreams to scale right there in front of you. Once you've got that process figured out, start with the dig, fill it on up, finish it. And Joey tells me, look, it always depends on the size and scale of the work as well as the weather. So it's not an exact science. But generally speaking, 6 to 8 weeks, that pool can be ready to roll. So contact Joey, 225-252-7745. Again, it's in the 225 area code, of course. 252-7745. You can find them online. You can put your contact information in there and have Joey and his team reach out to you. It's builtbyrenaissance.com. Builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, we got about 25 minutes left to go in this show, so let's get right to it. It's our SEC football power rankings.
Hunt's SEC power rankings. The Georgia Bulldogs.
I'm still going with the legacy play here. Nobody has knocked my socks off here in the SEC. I'm just going to stick with Georgia for the time being. They weren't great last week either. I get it. But they've got the goodwill built up, great defense. I'm still waiting on Gunnar Stockton to an extent, but I'll trust Georgia until I can't anymore.
The LSU Tigers.
Not great last week. Offense hasn't been good. Am I concerned about that? A little bit. I am. But there are concerns really across the board. There are teams that are coming up in 3, 4, 5 that I've got some issues with as well. I love LSU's defense. I really like LSU's quarterback, and I think the offense is going to take some steps forward. So I will take LSU in the number 2 spot.
The Texas Longhorns.
This is a talent play. They're still good on defense. Arch was a little bit better against a completely overmatched team last week. He's going to continue to get better with time. I didn't love Steve Sarkisian's answer about the injury, but I still think that Texas got a lot of dudes on that team, so I'll leave them here until I got to move them as well.
The Oklahoma Sooners.
The top three were the same. I've got Oklahoma up from 8-4 this week. I like John Mateer. He is very good. I think that Brent Venables' defense is very good as well. Oklahoma's got some playmakers. I think their running back, Ott's going to be an excellent player. So I'm high on Oklahoma right now. I've got them at 4.
The Missouri Tigers.
This is the biggest mover of the week, up 7 spots to number 5. This may be buying into something I shouldn't buy into. I realize Kansas is not a juggernaut, but I've got issues with a lot of teams in the middle of the pack here. So this is not to suggest that Missouri's knocking on the playoffs door. They played well last week, and I like their offense. Bo Pribula looks pretty good to me. So this one I don't feel awesome about, but I got to this point in the deal, and I'm like, I got issues with everybody here. So there's Missouri at number 5.
Texas A&M!
Move the Aggies up 1 spot. They haven't been great on defense, but there's something about Marcel Reed that I've kind of liked the last 2 weeks. It's not eye-popping. It's not incredible. He's got Casey Concepcion who's getting the ball to, Le'Veon Moss as well. They've got issues, but I like them. I like the identity of the Aggies right now, so I'll put them at 6.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
I back South Carolina up. I think that Virginia Tech stinks, and I think that they didn't play great this past weekend, but Sellers is very good, and the defense has some players on it, so middle of the pack seems about right. They backed up 3 spots, but I've got them at number 7.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn, nice win on opening weekend against the Baylor team that got a win in week 2 on the road. I think that Jackson Arnold's been pretty good, and Hugh Freeze has had a track record of getting some average quarterbacks to play pretty well. Arnold's got better than that talent. He's got great wide receivers to get the ball to. Their defense has been okay. I moved Auburn up 1 spot to number 8.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
I moved the Vols back 4 spots. I didn't do it intentionally. I tell you that I do this independent of last week's, and then I go back and compare them. Maybe that win in the opening weekend isn't quite as impressive as I thought, but Aguilar's been pretty good. I like Tennessee enough. They're in the middle of the pack.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Bama's up 1 spot. Nice job annihilating a complete mismatch, but you still got issues that were exposed in week 1. It seems ridiculous to put them all the way at number 10 just because of what they've been for the last 20 years, but that's where I got them.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Zach, do you have any comments on this? They're all the way up to number 11. That's got to be a high watermark.
All the way up to number 11.
That's got to be a high watermark.
I think they probably were a little bit higher last year after they beat Bama. Maybe.
Again, I think that Virginia Tech is not very good. But nice job in the second half. They were great offensively in the second half for sure. I still don't think they have a lot of talent, but I got issues behind them, so I'll move them up to number 11.
The Ole Miss Rebels.
Second biggest mover of the week. Ole Miss backed up 6 spots. I think Kentucky is atrocious. I think they're awful. I think they're terrible. I think they're no good. I think they're very bad. And Ole Miss played them about head up. I realized it was in the big grocery store, but that was disappointing to me from an Ole Miss perspective, so I backed Lane's boys way up to number 12.
The Florida Gators.
Florida number 13. That's a bad loss. It's maybe a program-altering loss. We'll see what happens in Tiger Stadium this weekend. There's still talent on the Florida team. We're going to talk a lot about it over the next 2 days. They got some guys on offense. They really got some guys on defense, but they've not played well on offense, and the defense has been a little bit hurt. So I don't have really a choice. You didn't play very well last weekend, and some people didn't think you played great against Long Island, even though it was 55-0. So Florida back at number 13.
The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Arkansas stays where they were. Razorbacks at 14. Taylor Green's had a nice stat line. They haven't really stepped out and done much. So we'll see what comes from the rest of September, which is a little bit of a step up in class. They start with Ole Miss this week, but I don't think much of Arkansas.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Moved Mississippi State up 1 from 16 up to 15. Nice win. Great job of bowing your neck, making a big play late, and then getting the interception to seal it. Great night for the people in Starkville. I still don't think they're very good. I don't think Arizona State's very good. Good job getting a win, though. You got 2 of them last year. You got 2 this year. So hat tip to State. I'm not going to move you way up, but I got you at 15.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
I think I made my statements pretty clear on Kentucky in the Ole Miss portion of this segment. I think they're just atrocious, and I think a coaching change is likely to be coming there. You can say, well, they played with Ole Miss. Well, that's a negative for Ole Miss. I know Kentucky doesn't have dudes, so I think they're the worst team in the league. I moved them back to number 16. Those are the SEC power rankings. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, LSU. Number 3, Texas. Those stay the same. Oklahoma up 4 spots to 4. Missouri up 7 spots to 5. Then you got A&M, South Carolina, and Auburn, 6, 7, 8. Number 9, the Tennessee Volunteers. Alabama comes in at 10. Vanderbilt, I think a high watermark, up to number 11. Ole Miss falls to number 12. I got Florida at 13. They come to Tiger Stadium this week. Then you got Arkansas and Mississippi State at 14 and 15. And Kentucky brings up the rear this week. Beck?
It's a broken record at this point, but Vandy I think still should be.
What should Vandy be ranked?
Okay,
are they better than Tennessee?
I am not going to say that I think Vanderbilt has a more talented team than Tennessee or Alabama or Auburn, and I wouldn't even maybe go as high as 8. But I will say this: I think they have gotten. Obviously, they've gotten better results than Alabama has. I mean, Alabama has one win against Yo Monroe. Vanderbilt has a win against Virginia Tech, who doesn't look great, but still, it's a good win. And Tennessee, I'm kind of surprised. You seem to really not like Tennessee very much, but I
don't.
But they had a pretty solid beating of it seemed to be a pretty decent Syracuse team. But other than that,
how about this? If Vandy goes on the road and beats South Carolina,
that's got to be top. That's top 10 easily. Huh?
I would say top 8.
Yes, I think that is deserved because you're going to move South Carolina down, obviously at least to 10 or 11, if not maybe 12. The Missouri at 5 is pretty surprising to me from you. I mean, you're usually very negative opinion on Missouri.
They just went nuts in the second half offensively.
They did, but again,
maybe Kansas is abysmal.
Who's to
Very
say?
true.
Yeah. So
if I had to guess where Missouri finishes, I would say closer to 10. But right now, I'll say this. Like, I've got issues with everybody. And that's what I talked about in the segment at the end of the first hour yesterday, is it feels open because I could convince you that Georgia's not really a juggernaut here. Is everybody just completely bought in on Gunnar Stockton at this point? They didn't play worth a flip on Saturday. LSU can't run the ball, can't get down the field. They're not scoring. Texas may have quarterback problems, may have offense problems. Are we buying in completely in Oklahoma? I know I'm not buying in completely in Missouri. I'm going in order. Well, that's 1 through 5.
Yeah.
A&M hadn't played worth a flip on defense against bad teams. South Carolina, everybody's. I could make a case against everybody. And I also, I've got Florida and Ole Miss at 12 and 13. I don't think they're terrible by any stretch.
Ole Miss being that low and having, I mean, I know you really hate Kentucky and if Ole Miss goes in there and beats them by 2 scores, they're probably still in the top 8. But that's still a win. It's not good.
It feels like, I can't back this up, but I can go look at it maybe, and I'll maybe do that later on this fall. But it doesn't feel to me like I would give the number 12 team in the SEC a really good chance to beat the number 2 or 3 team in the SEC most years. And this year, according to these power rankings, which could be completely wrong, they're mine, but it's an exercise for a reason. That's Ole Miss over Texas or LSU. That's not a stretch at all.
No, it's not.
So it feels like there's more parity than there ever has been for whatever reason the case may be.
And Mississippi State should be above Arkansas. They have a good win. Arkansas has played 2
I like Arkansas's
really bad
quarterback
teams.
better.
Okay, but they don't have a good win.
We'll
Mississippi
see.
State has
Arkansas
a good win.
plays Ole Miss this week, and if they get beat by 30, then we'll make some adjustments. That's the beauty of doing them weekly.
Yes.
You can change things up. And I'm not afraid to. Let's close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Just go by and see them. Put them on your list. I'm not telling you got to go buy a Genesis vehicle. That's not the point. The point is to put them on your list when it's time to purchase a new vehicle. That doesn't happen annually for most people. So when that time comes for you, just consider Genesis. It's a luxury brand at a reasonable price. It's right there on Airline at Pickell. Go by and see them. Every single vehicle in the line, every model, is an IHA top safety pick. All of them. So they're all among the safest cars on the road. Some of them are IHA top safety picks plus, and you can ask your brand ambassadors which ones those may be. They've got SUVs. They've got sedans. So if you've got a big family, it's just you looking to get into a different vehicle, because a lot of you haven't driven a Genesis. put Genesis on your list. Go by and see them. America's best warranty, an incredible staff that's going to treat you like a guest and not a customer. Convenient location, and an amazing line of vehicles. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. You can find them online, genesisofbatonrouge.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
My father, J.B. Falgu, had a vision of growth for First American Bank and the communities we serve. The bank's foundation was built on his legacy of compassion, loyalty, and dedication. Through his years of leadership, First American has prospered to heights even J.B. could not have imagined. I know my father would be extremely proud of the customer service and financial stability that First American provides to Southeast Louisiana. We continue to thrive because of the legacy of J.B. Falgu.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
All right, big show coming up tomorrow. Sam Spiegelman will drop in, talk a little recruiting with us. We'll chat Saints with Luke Johnson. Chris Blair from the LSU Sports Radio Network will be with us to talk Tigers, and we'll certainly take a closer look at LSU and Florida. I'll start kind of my in-depth Florida preview. We did have a great Florida segment earlier today, so you can go back and check on at Hunt on LSU. We chatted with Graham Hall of Swamp 24/7, so you can find that wherever you find your podcast. One more order of business this afternoon. That's Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, perfect for these warm South Louisiana months, and there are a lot of them. This is one of them. It's going to be warm out there on Saturday. You're going to be tailgating. How about a Flight by Yingling? Go pick up a case wherever you find your beers. You're talking about 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, plus that delicious beer taste you're looking for. Flight by Yingling, next generation of light beer.
All righty, first one, Anthony Rizzo announced his retirement today. from Major League Baseball, and also his new role as an ambassador for the Chicago Cubs. Rizzo is a top 10 all-time Cubby. Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I'll take it.
Close. I don't even care what the stats say.
Well, I knew that was going to be the case.
He was the face of the greatest era in the history of the franchise, captain of the team without a C on his chest, and probably, when you boil it all down, my favorite Cub ever. Sammy Sosa was the childhood Cub for me, and he's the one that hooked me on the franchise. But Rizzo trying to fight the entire Reds team before we got good, being the backbone of the best era, winning a couple Gold Gloves, a Silver Slugger, being a huge piece of the World Series team. He is just like, I legitimately, this will make some people laugh and roll their eyes, legitimately got emotional watching videos that were in tribute to him earlier today because of like that run of Cubs baseball. There will never be in my entire life a run like that means that, because the Cubs had never done it before. Now it'll be the second time, hopefully third time, fourth time, whatever, in the course of me watching the Cubs. There will never be one that feels like that, and he was the face of it. So yeah, that's a big deal, and he's a top 10 Cub forever. They need a statue of Rizzo ASAP.
All right, last one real quick. Scotty Scheffler said today that he is changing the way he's preparing for the Ryder Cup as opposed to 2023, when he was okay, but definitely not as good as Scotty Scheffler should be. He's going to be playing in the PGA tournament they're going to be having this week in California. So Scotty going undefeated at the Ryder Cup. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave that. Very hard to do. And he's probably going to play a lot. You got to do it with the teammate, especially in alternate shots. So I'll leave that, but it's good to have him on my team. I'm excited about that. I'm excited about the Ryder Cup. So that's it for Take It or Leave It, presented by Flight by Yingling. Missing it today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. We previewed the Florida Gators, talked a little Saints secondary. Find that at Hunt on LSU and Hunt on Saints. Matt's going to drive you home next. Everybody have a happy and safe Wednesday afternoon. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place for the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel.